Every car has its strengths and weaknesses, but not the Chinese EVs. They build the car for the love of the game, and oh boy, they really do love the game. While Ford and GM are quietly walking back their EV targets, China is doing the opposite. Over 150 new EV models are hitting Chinese roads this year alone, more than EV models from every US brand combined. And not just any car, any one of them has the power to destroy the US car market if they were not banned. But will this ban be forever? Perhaps not. So today, we're ranking 6 Chinese EVs that would legitimately wreck the US market if the doors ever opened, with real numbers on power, speed, and what you actually get for your money. Let's get into it. Number 6, BYD Seagull. Starting at the bottom of the price ladder, because they are the most budget-friendly. The Seagull sells for around $12,000 in China. The stripped-down version goes for under 10 grand. Now, before you assume that means it's slow and cheap feeling, it does 75 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 13 seconds, top speed of 81 miles an hour. This is not a car built to impress you on a drag strip. But here's what should actually worry Detroit. Nobody who's driven it walks away calling it a golf cart. One reviewer who spent time behind the wheel in China said flat out that the build quality rivals that of EVs, costing 3 times as much. McPherson struts up front, a proper independent suspension setup, real fit and finish. This is a legitimate small car, not a compliance vehicle. The battery is BYD's own blade pack, LFP chemistry, which means it's inherently more fire resistant than the batteries most competitors use. It'll do a 30-minute fast charge from empty to 80%. For a car this cheap, that's not supposed to exist. One auto industry VP put it bluntly: any car company not watching BYD as a competitor is going to get blindsided. And it's not a matter of if BYD enters the US, it's when. Number 5, BYD Celion 7. This is BYD's shot at the family SUV market, aimed straight at Tesla Model Y territory, the $50,000 to $65,000 bracket. The base premium trim puts down 308 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds. But step up to the AWD performance model and it jumps to 523 horsepower, cutting that sprint down to 4.5 seconds, with a top speed of 133 miles an hour. That's supercar territory from a decade ago, sitting inside a practical family SUV. It runs on the same blade battery tech, this time in a bigger 82 to 91 kilowatt-hour pack. And the real headline is the charging, an 800-volt platform that takes it from 10% to 80% in around 12 minutes. That's less time than it takes to eat a sandwich in the drive-thru line next to it. This is the car that doesn't need a gimmick to sell itself. Genuinely quick, genuinely safe. It's built to pass Europe's toughest 5-star crash testing, and priced well below anything comparable sold in America today. Number 4, XPeng P7 Plus. This is where things get a little more science fiction. Most self-driving systems lean on LiDAR, those spinning sensor units that add thousands to the sticker price. XPeng skipped it entirely. The P7 Plus runs on a vision-based system they call Hawkeye, using cameras and AI instead of expensive hardware, backed by a self-developed chip capable of over 2,000 TOPS of processing power, more raw computing muscle than most laptops will ever see. On the performance side, the entry motor puts out around 245 horsepower, but pushed to the higher trims, and you're looking at over 300 horsepower with a 0 to 60 in the mid 4-second range, and a top speed north of 120 miles an hour. Not the fastest car on this list, but paired with a drag coefficient of just 0.206, one of the most aerodynamically efficient production shapes in the world right now, which is part of how it stretches a single charge past 400 miles. The cabin leans full luxury, Napa leather, massaging seats, a 20-speaker sound system pushing full surround sound. This is the car that's quietly previewing where every automaker, American or not, is eventually headed. The only question is who gets there first. Number 3, Xiaomi YU7. Yes, that's Xiaomi, which is famous for its phones. The base YU7 already isn't messing around. Dual motors putting down 508 horsepower combined, a 253 km/h top speed, that's 157 miles an hour, and a CLTC range pushing 750 kilometers, all starting around $35,000. And then there's the GT version, which is where this stops being a family SUV and starts being an actual weapon. 990 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, a top speed of 186 miles an hour. It ran a Nürburgring lap that beat a BMW M4 CS in an SUV. One outlet did the math and pointed out this thing is faster around the ring than a Tesla Model S Plaid at roughly a third of the price. But the real story here isn't the spec sheet, it's the name on the hood. Xiaomi already has hundreds of millions of people using their phones and smart devices. If you're an American who's never heard of BYD or Xpeng, there's a decent chance you've heard of Xiaomi, and that brand recognition alone could do more damage to US automakers than any single spec could. Number 2, NIO ET7. Now we get to the number that should genuinely alarm every EV company in America. Range, wrapped around real performance. The ET7 puts down 653 horsepower from its dual motor setup, hits 60 in about 3.8 seconds, and tops out around 124 miles an hour. Governed, not maxed out, because this is a luxury sedan, not a track car. With the top battery option, a semi-solid-state pack, NIO rates it for over 1,000 kilometers of Chinese test cycle. Even on the stricter European standard, it's still pulling 580 kilometers, more than 360 miles, starting around $41,000. Range anxiety is one of the last real reasons people hesitate on EVs. NIO just took that excuse and drove it off a cliff. If this car, or anything close to its specs, ever lands stateside at anywhere near this price, it's not competing with other EVs. It's competing with the idea of buying a gas car at all. Finally, number 1, Zeekr 001. And at the top, the car built to make German luxury brands nervous. The standard AWD version alone is putting down 912 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, a top speed of 174 miles an hour, all running on a 900-volt platform that can charge 10% to 80% in 7 minutes flat. And that's the tame version. Step up to the 001 FR, and Zeekr isn't playing anymore. A 4-motor setup delivering over 1,200 horsepower, a genuine 2-second flat 0 to 60, and a top speed pushing 174 miles an hour with carbon ceramic brakes and track-tuned suspension. Zeekr straight up calls it the world's fastest mass-produced car, and on paper, it's trading blows with a Porsche 911 GT3 and coming out ahead in some numbers. This is the one that proves China isn't just playing the cheap and cheerful game anymore. They're coming for the segment American and German brands have owned for decades, the one where people pay a premium for a badge. And Zeekr's betting that badge won't matter for much longer. The question is how long that wall holds, and what happens to the US car market on the day it doesn't. If you had to bet, which one of these breaks through first? Drop your pick in the comments. Subscribe if you want to be ahead of this instead of reading about it after it's already happened. See you in the next one.